Tonight on the Mike Tomlin Show, Big Ben's game-winning drive put him ahead of Hall of Famer John Elway. Find out how. And speaking of Elway, we're off to the Rocky Mountains. Coach Tomlin gets us ready for the 4-6 Denver Broncos. And we celebrate this Thanksgiving weekend by giving back to our Pittsburgh community. All of that and so much more as the Mike Tomlin Show starts right now.
Here we go. This pass is caught, and that's a touchdown. That's the way to work. Come on. He's hit that sack. The Steelers win the football game. Let's go. Come get it. You know what it is.
This one is in the history books.
Here we go.
The Mike Tomlin Show is presented by 84 Lumber.
Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of the Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missy Matthews. Going into halftime last week in Jacksonville, Steelers fans were having a bad bout of deja vu. They saw what Ben Roethlisberger was doing before against the same team twice last season. And having thrown for only 53 yards and 2 interceptions, the offense was clearly on the ropes 30 minutes into the game. The defense, however, stepped up in a big way. They may have let Leonard Fournette run wild in the first half, but held Jacksonville to only 9 points. And in the second half, the defense kept a lid on Fournette, fending them off long enough to let Big Ben find his mojo and lead Pittsburgh to the heart-stopping finish that we all witnessed. To discuss the dramatic win and their 6th victory in a row, let's head over to Bob Papiani, who's with Coach Tomlin.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. It's a 7-2-1 football team that'll go on to Denver this week. We'll talk more about the Broncos coming up, but first, let's talk about what happened last week. And Coach, I'm just going to spin ahead. Everyone knows it was a tough start. You guys fell behind, but a character win to be sure. Your guys know how to be resilient when it matters most, and I think that was on display.
You know, I think one of the elements of it is we talked openly in preparation for the game about what type of game it'll be. Oftentimes we talk about our opponents and about the nature of the matchup and acknowledging certain things. And sometimes based on records, people believe us or don't believe us. And I think because they had lost 5 games in a row, people assumed that it was going to be easy. And we were able to get out of that stadium because we knew it wasn't going to be easy. We anticipated the fight that team displayed. We knew that they had a uniquely talented defense that was capable of taking over a football game. Our knowledge of that, our legitimate acknowledgement of that and preparation in that regard allowed us to remain focused in the midst of all of that and do what was required to win the game.
Let's talk about turning points. I found it interesting. You said you didn't think there was one. However, when you're down 16-0 with, I think, 1:17 left in the third, that big pass play from Ben to AB, that was huge at the time, and it seemed like it was one of those plays that those two have an interesting connection, and they know how to read one another.
No question. You know, historically, as plays get extended, Ben gets increasingly dangerous, and that's just another play that will, go in his portfolio. It was a significant play at a very timely moment. We needed it.
Along the way, James Conner had a couple of drops, and I remember the first game in Cleveland, he had a fumble, but his response to that fumble was really good work in subsequent weeks. Your comments about those plays, and he seems to be resilient enough to overcome them.
I'm glad that they happened and we won. I'm looking forward to him responding to that. I know that he will. He had some drops a year ago or so as a young guy, and it's not bad hands, it's bad eyes. And I think if you look at the video, you see that. The moment was big, and he didn't see the ball in. So that's what we talk about this time of year when we talk about practicing and working for perfection because it's just that critical.
Following the one drop that would have been a touchdown for James Conner, and you're right, his eyes came off the ball. There was a significant play. It was 3rd and 10, Roethlisberger to Brown, and that set up what happened on the goal line. I'm just curious about something that we talked about. If Ben Roethlisberger doesn't get in, you had one timeout left. You seem to be a gambling kind of man. What would you have done on that situation? A field goal put you in overtime?
What do you think I would have done?
I think you would have gone for it. Would you?
We'll never know, will we?
No trade secrets here on your own show, huh?
Absolutely not. We might be in them circumstances again, and the reality is we probably will be. And we're always prepared, and I'll just leave it at that.
Roethlisberger made a good play. He said it was all heart, and it had to have been because there were options. Explain that play when you called it.
He's got several options on that play, and whenever you're in a moment like that, to provide a guy like Ben multiple options, you're giving yourself the very best chance for success. And obviously, him running is probably the last of the options that I'm interested in. But he's a tremendous competitor. He's a talented guy in a lot of ways. He's not surprised that he was able to deliver that for us.
Matt Filer got out of the way just in time, too. He did a good Matador play there. Nimble feet by Filer allowed that play to succeed, and the Steelers got 20 straight points to end the game and win to get to 7-2-1. When we come back, we'll ask Coach about the Denver Broncos. The next assignment, that's a big game coming up Sunday. You'll see it on KDKA TV. Missy, back over to you.
Thanks, Bob. What a play, and that capped off Ben's 41st regular season game-winning drive and his 45th if you include the postseason. Coming up next, we'll relive some of his most memorable game-winning drives. And I know if I was going crazy when Ben leapt into the end zone, then every Steelers fan must have been going nuts too. Luckily, some cell phones were rolling when it happened. We'll see the best reactions next.
The Steelers' official mobile app brings your game day experience to a whole new level. The app features a new game center full of stats, drive charts, and video highlights. Following the game, watch live press conferences and video interviews. Download the Steelers' official mobile app for free today.
You got it? Okay.
This is the annual turkey drive I do here in Pittsburgh. A lot of my teammates came out to help support it.
Why do you want to do this at Thanksgiving? Why is it important?
I think I have to. It's something that I have to. I feel like, over time I've been so blessed, and to give back in a small way that I do, man, is awesome.
This is the second year I've been a part of working with the food bank, but they do an awesome job, not just in the city of Pittsburgh, but it's really beneficial to the communities that it affects.
On Sunday in Jacksonville, quarterback Ben Roethlisberger led the Steelers to his 41st regular season game-winning drive of his career, breaking a tie with John Elway for the 6th most game-winning drives in the NFL since 1960. And among active quarterbacks, the Steelers' comeback cowboy is tied for 3rd.
They held the fort until our offense got going, and then obviously with 7, you got a chance.
Ben gets the snap, rolls right, he looks, he runs, he dives, he's in! He's in! He's in! He's got a touchdown!
The 20-16 win in Jacksonville marked the 2nd game-winning drive for Roethlisberger in 2018.
Blitz is coming.
And here it comes, and a quick pop over the middle, running free. That's Antonio. 10-5, touchdown Pittsburgh. You gotta be here.
Oh, baby.
Unbelievable.
It was also the 3rd time in his career he did it in Jacksonville. The first one was during his rookie season, and the other was this 8-yard touchdown pass to Hines Ward in 2008.
He throws it now, a little timing pattern. It's caught for a touchdown. Hines Ward got a step on the defender and pulled it in. And the Steelers go in front, and you could hear a pin drop at Jacksonville Municipal Stadium.
There have been plenty of other memorable ones too, with several of them coming against the Ravens.
Throws it over the middle. The pass is
caught.
He got to the goal line. Touchdown! Touchdown, Pittsburgh!
Playing in Baltimore is never easy, so let's go back to December 14th, 2008 with the AFC North title on the line. Roethlisberger and company down 9-6 with 2:53 left in the game, went 12 plays for 92 yards, and won 13-9 on a Santonio Holmes touchdown. The win not only clinched the division for the Steelers, it secured them a bye in the playoffs and ensured Pittsburgh would host the 3rd matchup between these two rivals that season.
Roethlisberger takes, he wants to throw it on 3rd and goal. He looks right, nothing there. Scampers left, looks, stops, now comes back to his right, throws the pass, touchdown Pittsburgh! Santonio Holmes pulls it in the end zone.
And of course, we all know how that playoff run ended, with confetti. It marked the second of Roethlisberger's 4 postseason game-winning drives and the team's 6th Lombardi trophy.
43 seconds to go. Ben gets the snap. He scrambles around, throws it back corner of the end zone. Santonio with a touchdown! Santonio home! I don't know how he did it! Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie doesn't know how he did it, but they ruled touchdown in the far right corner of the end zone.
And those dramatic comeback wins are what makes football so special. Moments and plays that electrify living rooms, bars, and restaurants all over the country. And with everyone now having a video camera in their pocket, we get to share those moments with the world.
Ben gets the snap, rolls right, he looks, he runs, he dives, he's in!
He's in.
He's in!
Plenty more coming up on the Mike Tomlin Show. Up next, Coach talks about the dynamic duo of Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. And we've seen quarterback Case Keenum before, so how different is his play this time around?
Heinz Field, baby, let's go.
This fall, we're hosting a few get-togethers at Heinz Field.
Touchdown, Antonio Brown. How did he do that? Here's a big rush, and that is Cam Hayward with yet another.
Come on by and join 68,000 of your closest friends.
Touchdown, Juju Smith-Schuster. The Steelers win the football game, and what a game.
For ticket information, visit Steelers.com. The Mike Tomlin Show is presented by 84 Lumber.
Ever since the AFC Championship win in Denver during the 2005 magical run of the Super Bowl, Mile High Stadium has not been kind to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The last quarterback the Steelers faced in Denver was Peyton Manning. However, this time around, it'll be Case Keenum, no disrespect. By all accounts, the Broncos offense is running through an undrafted rookie in Phillip Lindsay, a running back out of Colorado University, who is currently in the Rookie of the Year conversation. And on the defensive side of the ball, first-round draft pick linebacker Bradley Chubb is on pace to break a 19-year-old record by most sacks for a rookie. There's a youth movement happening in Denver, but it's a team struggling to find consistency. After a huge win against the Chargers, the Broncos are using this game against the Steelers as a litmus test. For more now, let's head back over to Bob and Coach.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. The AFC right now very much up for grabs. Some big games coming up. And the next one on the schedule for the Steelers is a trip to Denver. Last time you guys were out there, a game that I thought you probably were in a position to win before the fumble by Fitzgerald Toussaint. But this is a Denver team, Mike, that has been in a lot of games. I mean, their record says 4-6, but I looked at some games against Kansas City they had and others. They got blown out by the Jets, but they're a pretty good team, especially we saw it last week against the Chargers.
Yeah, they're a battle-tested group. They've probably been in as many of these type of games as anybody in ball. They've played Kansas City twice, and we know the type of run that Kansas City's on. They've played the LA Rams when they were in the midst of a ridiculous run. They've played the Houston Texans recently when they were in the midst of a 5 or so game run. So the fact that we're coming in there with a win streak won't be foreign to them. They won't be intimidated by our presence.
And like Jacksonville, that'll be a desperate team already with 6 losses, so they got to get to work and win some games. Let's talk about their quarterback, Case Keenum. We saw him last year when he came to Pittsburgh with Minnesota. He's capable of doing some pretty good things there. What do you have to first talk about when it comes to stopping him?
Man, his above the net game is excellent. He really makes awesome decisions. We had a lot of success against him last year when he was in Minnesota, but I've been cautioning the guys all week. Don't let that be representative of what he's capable of. If you remember, that was his first start. He went on to maybe win 13 or 14 in a row after that game as a starter for the Vikings. And obviously he's had legitimate opportunity to prepare in this circumstance. He is their starter, went into training camp as that. His above the net game is really good. He makes good and quick decisions. He minimizes negativity because of it.
Defensively, when you talk about Denver, Von Miller's name always comes up, Brandon Marshall, but they also have Bradley Chubb. This guy's on pace to put some pretty special numbers on paper. What makes him good, and what do you have to worry about with him?
You know, he's an unbelievable Robin to Von's Batman, you know. And what a Batman he is, man. I had an opportunity to spend a week or so with him in Orlando, coaching the Pro Bowl, and you really just gained some insight to really how special the guy is. He was a special in a stadium of special people. You know, he came to me kind of in the fourth quarter of the Pro Bowl and said, "I got you, Coach, we're gonna win this game." And we all watched him do it at the Pro Bowl. He decided they were gonna win that game a week ago. He got a sack, he picked the ball off and ran it back 50 yards. I mean, those are the type of plays that this guy's capable of. And Chubb, I mean, no disrespect to him, but, you know, this guy's a top 5 talent and is a big-time player and is quickly emerging. He's got 9 sacks in your rookie campaign. If he had played 16 games, would be impressive. Put that in perspective, I think TJ maybe had 7 or 8 last year. This guy's awesome, but this starts with Von Miller. He's an awesome supplement to it. We got our hands full with those two in company.
Should be a great game, it always is, and you'll see it tomorrow on KDK TV at 4:25. Pregame for us starts at 11:30 in the morning. When we come back, it's holiday week, and I'm sure Mike Tomlin has some very special memories about Thanksgiving. We'll have that and more coming up. Missy, back to you.
And thanks so much, Bob. It really is the season of giving. On Tuesday, the team announced the Steelers Social Justice Grant Program. And to kick things off, several players headed to the Boys and Girls Club of Western PA to donate $15,000. Ramon Foster, Marquise Pouncey, and TJ Watt were just a few players on hand to deliver the check. Coming up next, Stephon Tuitt takes his talents to the kitchen to bake some traditional Thanksgiving pumpkin pies.
It's not really Thanksgiving unless you have pumpkin pie.
The league considers rule changes annually. We want to keep the game competitively fair, and we just want to make the game as safe as we can make it. Recently, we expanded the horse collar tackle rule to not only include inside the collar, but outside the collar. Guys were being injured, so we expanded that rule. You talk to the players about why the rule is being changed, but then you also talk to your coaches about how it might change our instruction. You know, the game is evolving, and it's evolving for the better.
On that Monday night, you know, the bright lights of Monday, this team has a way of rising to that occasion.
But Denver was 6-1, and Tyrone Carter starting at safety.
Ryan Clark had his sickle cell trait that doesn't allow him to play in the high altitude. And so Tyrone Carter steps in and not only does a good job, does a masterful job, including a pick 6.
It really worked out well for Tyrone. And most fans thought initially, oh no, how are we going to win this game? Well, it turned out they won the game very well.
Denver was a very good football team, and for the Steelers to be able to dominate like they did, it was wonderful to watch. And when you're that good on both sides of the ball, and Ben was outstanding, the other team has trouble dealing with it, and obviously the Broncos did. It was a big game for the Steelers, and again, with that spotlight on them, I think they relished that moment.
Well, if there's one thing a 6'6", 300-pound defensive lineman like Stephon Tuitt enjoys, it's food, and it doesn't get much better than a classic Thanksgiving pumpkin pie. With the help of Giant Eagle, Tuitt spent an afternoon with his son Payne baking the traditional holiday dessert. Check it out.
What's up, Ben?
How you doing,
I'm doing well.
Nice to see you.
This is Payne on my son.
Well, nice to meet you. We're going to make some pies today. I hear you're a big fan of pie.
I am a big fan of pies.
And so,
aren't you a big fan of pies?
Yeah.
He loves pies too as well.
Awesome. So we're going to do like the traditional pumpkin pie.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you how to make it. It's actually a lot easier than you think.
Oh, wow. Well,
So-
you know what? I always like trying new things.
All right,
so
and I'm
let's
going
try
to
it.
ask you to help me. So we're going to
Okay.
start by mixing all this stuff in the bowl. So we got half a cup of sugar.
There you go.
Perfect. Fourth cup of brown sugar, or pumpkin filling. So not the pumpkin pie in a can. This is just pumpkin in a can. Evaporated milk.
2 eggs.
And these are beaten, so they're nice and liquidy.
Fantastic.
Pumpkin pie spice. Why don't you go ahead and throw that in there for me?
So the last touch in there.
Perfect. Boom.
All right, Michael, look like the pie's done.
All right, and we have here our finished pie.
That's
So
the pie we created.
That's the pie we just made.
Wow.
But we're not done there.
Okay.
We're going to do another step here. Our crushed pecans.
All right, we need to put those in here, Michael.
Put those in the bowl, please. Thank you.
Perfect.
Perfect. And then we're going to add in our brown sugar, vanilla. This is just corn syrup, just to help it all to come together.
Okay.
It's going to spread out a little bit, so if it's all in the center, that's fine. If it's
I'll
off to
try
the
my
side.
best. It's quite sticky. This is experience, folks, to be able to do this.
And now we're going to pop it in the oven.
It looked like we made a really good pumpkin pie.
I think we made an excellent pumpkin pie. I'm just going to keep going. You say when.
You want more? Well, let's get a chance to taste our creation. It's not really Thanksgiving unless you have pumpkin pie. Happy Thanksgiving.
Man, did that look good. Now I'm definitely starting to get hungry. Thank you guys so much for spending your Thanksgiving weekend with us for this edition of the Mike Tomlin Show presented by 84 Lumber. Before we say goodnight, however, let's get some final thoughts from the head coach.
Missy, thanks very much. This is a special time of the year. It's one of those holidays that I don't think gets enough play. Everybody's always talking about Christmas already in October, but Thanksgiving is a time that's a special time for everyone. And when you're in a football family like the Steelers, I think it's even more special. Your guys have been out handing out turkeys to people who are less fortunate. I know you're proud of them. What is it about Thanksgiving, time of year to thanks for people? What is it special for you?
You know, I just think Thanksgiving, at least for me, Thanksgiving and football has always been intertwined. As a young man, we played in turkey bowls on Thanksgiving morning. Our youth football leagues finished our season on Thanksgiving morning. So it's just always been a part of life for me, and I think that we're all obviously are extremely thankful for the blessings that we have to be able to be a Pittsburgh Steeler and to be able to represent this community and this fan base. To be able to do what it is that we love to do at this level. And I think Thanksgiving is an opportunity for us through football to share those blessings with others. And I think our guys have a legitimate understanding of that, and that's why they're so active in getting out in the community with turkey giveaways and so forth. We've just been extremely blessed and thankful.
Faith, family, football. That pretty much sums up the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that'll close our show today. Coach, thanks very much. All the best in Denver.
Thank you.
All right. Mike Tomlin Show, each and every Saturday night, 11:35 KDKA, or on the Steelers channel on YouTube. That's going to do it for our program tonight. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early, and then we'll follow it with 2 hours of post-game. Steelers and Broncos right here on KDKA TV. Thanks for joining us. For Missy Matthews and Mike Tomlin, I'm Bob Pompiani, and have a happy Thanksgiving week.